Geography, you and me, where we go and what we'll see. Travel all around the world, you and me. Geography, look like I'm going to bring geography, you and me, all around the world. Here's what we'll see.
Yes, that's what everyone said.
If we're gonna visit them, gotta get to know.
Dzień dobry, dzisiaj na Landscape Learning będziemy się uczyć geografii.
Hallo, wir sind Landscape Learning und heute werden wir Erdkunde lernen.
Bonjour. C'est Landscape étudie. Oui.
Hello, we are Landscape Learning.
And today we're going to learn some
Geography.
Today we are going to be doing tectonic plates. This is a homemade PowerPoint, so please give us the credit we deserve. Yasmin, Marceline, what are your thoughts on tectonic plates?
I really love them, and the oceanic ones.
This is my thoughts on tectonic plates, actually. Yeah, what even are tectonic plates?
Tectonic plates are massive, irregular-shaped slabs of solid rock that make up the Earth's crust, which is the outermost layer of the Earth. These plates vary greatly in size and thickness, and they include both continental and oceanic crust. They move due to convection currents in the mantle. The Earth's crust is divided into about 7 major plates and several smaller ones. And if you don't know what the mantle is, that's the second layer of the Earth below the crust.
What are all the layers of the Earth?
It's the inner core, outer core, mantle and crust. Now, continental plates. Yasmin, would you like to read this?
The composition. Continental plates are made up of lighter, less dense materials, primarily granite and other silicate minerals. This composition makes them thicker, but less dense compared to oceanic plates. Thickness. They can be very thick, typically ranging from about 30 to 70 kilometers. Age. Continental crust is generally older than oceanic crust, with some parts dating back billions of years. Features. These plates contain much of the Earth's landmass and are characterized by a wide variety of geological features such as mountains, plateaus, and ancient rock formations.
Right, Marceline, do you want to read this then?
So this is dedicated to Yasmin's love of oceanic plates. The composition of oceanic plates consists mainly of denser, heavier materials like basalt and gabbro. The thickness. They are thinner than continental plates, usually about 5 to 10 kilometers thick. The age of oceanic crust is continually being recycled at subduction zones and is typically much younger than continental crust, often less than 200 million years old. Some features of oceanic plates are that the floors are associated with features like mid-ocean ridges, deep sea trenches, and volcanic island arcs.
But guys, for GCSE, you don't really need to know this. I just put these in as fun facts. All you need to really know is that oceanic is denser than continental. A plate boundary or margin. Plate boundaries are the edges where two tectonic plates meet. These boundaries are crucial in shaping the Earth's surface and are associated with various geological phenomena, including earthquakes, volcanoes, and mountain building.
Destructive boundary. A destructive plate boundary, also known as a convergent boundary, occurs where two tectonic plates move towards each other and collide. This type of boundary is characterized by a process called subduction, where one plate is forced beneath another. When an oceanic plate meets a continental plate, the denser oceanic plate is forced under the lighter continental plate in a process called subduction. The subducting oceanic plate moves into the mantle where it eventually melts.
So this is the subduction zone, where the subduction happens. Marceline, your turn.
Destructive plate boundary. It can also be a collision boundary when two continental plates collide. Neither is subducted because of their buoyancy and relatively similar densities. Instead, the collision leads to the material being compressed and pushed upwards, forming mountain ranges.
What happens at destructive plate boundaries? This is more of an in-depth explanation, so
boundaries.
you don't really need to know this. And I know a person personally that really struggles with GCSE geography, so I actually made this slide especially for you out there, Jess Lamley. Jess Lamley, we love you. Add her Snapchat at Jessica Lamley.
If you get this video to 10 likes, we will leak Jess Lamley's phone number.
Okay, and since Jess also struggles with reading, I will read this for her. Subduction. One plate goes beneath the other because it's denser. The sinking plate melts as it gets deeper into the earth. Melting. The heat and pressure down there make the plate melt, turning into magma. Number 3, magma rises. The melted rock or magma rises because it's lighter than the solid rock around it. Eruption. When the pressure gets too high, the magma bursts out onto the surface, forming a volcano.
Destructive plate boundary. Number 1, friction. As the subducting plate sinks deeper into the Earth's mantle, it encounters resistance from overlying plates. The friction between these two plates prevents smooth movement and causes stress to build up along the boundary. 2, release of stress over time. The stress becomes too great and the rocks along the boundary break suddenly, releasing stored energy in the form of seismic waves. This sudden release of energy is what we feel as an earthquake. Seismic waves. The seismic waves travel through the Earth's crust, causing the ground to shake. The severity of the earthquake depends on factors such as the amount of stress accumulated, the depth of the earthquake, and the type of rocks involved.
Constructive plate boundary. At a constructive plate boundary, also known as a divergent boundary, tectonic plates move away from each other.
Volcanoes can occur at constructive plate boundaries. Divergence. The plates move away from each other. This movement creates a gap or crack in the Earth's crust. Magma upwelling. As the plates move apart, magma from the mantle rises to fill the gap. The mantle is very hot, and when the pressure is reduced due to the plates moving apart, the magma can rise upwards. Crust formation. As the magma reaches the surface, it solidifies and forms new crust. This process is continuous, with new magma constantly filling the gap and creating more crust. Volcanic activity. Sometimes the magma may not solidify immediately and instead erupts onto the surface as lava, forming volcanoes. These volcanoes are typically shield volcanoes, which have gentle slopes due to the runny nature of the lava. Go for it, Yasmin.
Divergence. At constructive plate boundaries, tectonic plates move away from each other. This movement happens because of the forces deep within the Earth. Rifting. As plates pull apart, tension builds up along the boundary where they meet. This tension causes the rocks to crack and fracture. Faulting. The cracks that form in the Earth's crust are called faults. These faults can be normal faults, where one side of a fault drops down relative to the other side, or they can be strike-slip faults, where the plates slide past each other horizontally. Release of energy. Eventually, the stress and tension along the fault become too much to bear, and the rocks suddenly break and move along the fault. This sudden movement releases the energy in the form of seismic waves, which travel through the earth and cause the ground to shake. This shaking is what we feel as an earthquake.
When earthquakes occur at constructive plate boundaries, it's just to do with the crust thinning and cracks forming and then pressure building up and releasing in the form of seismic waves.
You can't have that! You can't have that!
Conservative plate boundaries. At conservative plate boundaries, tectonic plates slide past each other horizontally. They move in different directions or at different speeds.
Only earthquakes occur at conservative plate boundaries. There is no volcanic activity, and that's because there's no space in between the plates. It's just them moving next to each other. This is how it occurs. Horizontal movement. At conservative plate boundaries, tectonic plates move sideways past each other. This movement is called lateral or horizontal movement. Friction and stress. As the plates slide past each other, friction between them causes stress to build up along the boundary. This stress causes rocks to bend and deform, storing energy within the Earth's crust. Release of stress. Eventually, the stress becomes too great for the rocks to handle and they suddenly break and move along the fault. This sudden movement releases the stored energy in the form of seismic waves. Seismic waves. The released energy propagates outward as seismic waves, which travel through the Earth's crust and cause the ground to shake. This shaking is what we feel as an earthquake. They rub against each other, friction builds up, eventually that friction becomes too much and the stress accumulates to a point where it is released and seismic waves occur and then an earthquake. Oh, that was it.
That was shit.
Geography, you and me, where we go and what we'll see. Travel all around the world.
Are you guys ready to begin?
I'm so ready to begin.
Okay. What are tectonic plates? They're
You
massive,
haven't screen
irregular
shared it.
shaped. You what?
You haven't screen shared it.
Have I not?
No. You screen shared your files. I'll cut that out. It's fine.
What the fuck? I said, baby, can you hold my wood? You don't want this wood. You can't handle it. You can't handle it.
I said, baby, come hold this wood. You don't want this
Want
wood.
this wood.
Bro, it's been more than a minute. What's going on?
Yeah, but imagine if I'm just halfway through giving my...
You can't handle it. And other silicate and other silicate and
Silicate minerals.
The composition of ocean. I can't read.
Guys, I read the word propagates in a German dictionary, FYI, so...
Whoa.
Geography, you and me, where we go and what we'll see.